Well, when I look at Milwaukee and I see the joblessness situation, I can't help but think about the high black male unemployment rate that is plaguing this city, this county.
At this point, there is such a tremendous inequality in terms of the wealth, resources, the distribution, and that creates all kinds of problems.
A friend of ours is $80,000 in debt just for a bachelor's degree, $80,000 in debt. He figures he's gonna be paying for it for the rest of his life.
And what job do you get coming out with a bachelor's that pays $80,000? Where when I was in college, it was probably $800 for 2 semesters, but you're gonna come out, you're gonna get a job paying at least $8,000 a year. So you saw where the benefit, how you'll pay a little money up front, but you will recoup it later on.
There's no guarantee that getting a good education anymore is gonna give them any kind of good job. And but it's probably gonna give them a lot of debt.
I think about my daughter that's, sleeping on my couch now because she was evicted from her apartment. She had a job, but she was only making minimum wage. And, $7.25 an hour here in Milwaukee, that's, just under $15,000 a year. So she was on time paying her rent, through the help of, the money that she did receive and, asking me and asking other family members. But, we couldn't always keep carrying her, and now she's on my couch, and, and she cries from time to time because, she's out there every day looking for a job, and it's hard to get a home because, well, how are you gonna even pay for it, and how do I cheer her up and tell her it's gonna be better when our economy is the way that it is, I don't see it getting better for her either. All I can do is give her a couch.
The house that my sister is currently staying in, she has to move out because the house is being foreclosed on, and jobs, just seem like there's no jobs.
I'm struck time and time again about the signs of poverty. The boarded up houses, the number of people that are present, that are home at noon because they don't have jobs. The kids on the street don't have jobs.
We really need for someone to be a champion for public education because that's directly involved to the economy. Whether or not you can get a college education is potentially your pathway out of poverty. I feel like the past couple years, Wisconsin has been ground zero for workers' rights, and I feel like Obama could have done more to speak out in support of workers' rights.
With President Barack Obama, I think there's a lot more he should have done when he bailed out Wall Street, as far as making sure that everyday people became recipients of some of that bailout instead of all that money just being tied up on Wall Street and not being redistributed.
I think it's hard when you turn on the TV and you got presidential candidates talking about how they want to cut funding for college, and they talk about how they want to cut funding for job training, and they think they frame the American dream as something that just happens miraculously, like it's some magic thing that just happens, and that's not true. And I think people see right through it.